Welcome to GrayPrimer, a weekly show that's mostly about miniatures. My name is Nick, I'm your host, and in this episode, I'm doing yet another video on what would happen if orcs got their hands on some 20th century, 21st century armoured vehicles and tanks. And this time it's the turn of the German Hanomag 251. So far we've seen an M577 turn into a Killbursta, Leopard turn into a Killblasta, and now we've got the Hanomag here. What's it going to turn into? I don't think it's going to turn into something with too much of a big forward-facing weapon. I think we're looking at a troop carrier here, maybe a truck or something like that. But as I've done with the previous videos, going to get this unboxed and built as a normal kit. This one, like the others, is from Tamiya. Get it unboxed, get it built, bring it back to you, and then take it off to get orked up, and bring it back again and see what they've done. I'll be back soon. I am really enjoying orking up these modern tanks, and now we've got like sort of another of the armored personnel carriers. This is a half-track one with sort of gun platform, and this is going to be magnificent. I think this already looks kind of orky to start with, which I love. And I don't know if there's a huge amount I need to do to it to make it more orc-like. It's kind of looks chaos culty as well, which is cool. I'll put links to the other videos in this series into the show notes below so you can check those out if you like. But let's have a look at the German Hanomag here. Smaller box than the other ones. And we've got a decal sheet here with looks like full color on it. Very crisp details on it there as well. Number plates for the vehicle too. I'm not using those decals. Orks have really strong iconography, and I'll probably use something from maybe the Ork Blood Bowl teams or something like that. And we have, looks like all of the structure for the different wheels. This, of course, being a half track, has, you know, that tank track part as well as the normal sort of wheels on an axle with tires and the like. I'm loving all of the detail within this. It's a really nicely detailed kit. Just like the other Tamiya ones that I've looked at. All of the various wheels, including somewhat unusually for this series of videos, tires on the wheels rather than just tank tracks. Some more sort of looks like armor plate and stuff here. Various sort of tools for the outside of the vehicle. The armor here for the gun on the top, and the actual guns themselves. I'll no doubt swap those out with something more orc appropriate. And then we had the actual structure of the Hanomag here, which is pretty much all ready to rock. It's just in two parts, which is very cool. And a different colored sprue here for the crew, and some weapons and accessories. I most likely won't use much of this sprue. I probably won't build the crew. And then we've got these great rubber tracks and into the instruction manual. And the now customary Tamiya Tech Tips leaflet, which I love. And let's just see if we can have a look at the English instructions here. And a few different layouts for this type of vehicle. These half tracks. Some really unusual and interesting designs there. Inside there are some more images of the tank in real life, and these very crisp and detailed instructions on how to build this thing, and then I guess places to put like decals and things if you're going that route. I do like this little, hey, you know, build a collection of Tamiya 135 scale tank and armored car models. And you get like the Willys Jeep, the M113A, and then the M577, they're the command post from week 1 of this series. But hey, let's go get this all built up and orked up, and I'll be right back. So the Hanomag 251 Mark I caught me by surprise. I thought it was going to be a really quick build. I saw the massive components in the box, and I was like, oh great, this is just top plate, bottom plate, stick on the wheels, bump, we're good to go. And that's not the case. That is not the case. I'm just going to pop the gun supports out here because they're not glued in. I just really wanted you to see them, so you can just quickly, you can see that rotates there, and you can put on a machine gun, and the same at the front. This has got sort of the armored cover to it as well. And it looks like that. So really nice. Pop your gun in there, you're good to go. I take them out because they're just going to keep falling out when I rotate this. So yeah, it comes with this really large top piece, and you also get the chassis as well, all as one piece, and you think, yeah, this is going to be nice and quick. Whew, no. When I was putting this together in my hobby hangout on a Wednesday night, somebody said it looked like I was putting together a watch. And that's honestly what it felt like. There are just so many individual components to these wheels. These are all like 2 or 3 part. You've got the road wheel at the front there, which is, I think even it is like 3 parts, but incredibly complex and interesting to build. I've got to say, it wasn't that it was a negative experience. It was just complex. And obviously the same on the other side. You've got the little benches inside, which is a nice detail. One of the things that I really liked about this was this quite complicated rear door mechanism. I'm just going to push it open for you to show you. And you can see how that just hinges out. Just see it here. How cool it is when it's opened out. And it actually creates a little sort of corridor of protection for people disembarking from the vehicle that way, which is another nice touch to it. But it closes really nicely back in there, and from the inside you can see the handle mechanism on it there, and then just sort of, you can just poke that through to open it out. Very, very cool. That was a really nice element to it, and really nice detail areas around the side. You can see the tooling there, you can see the spotlights, some more tooling on this side, but a really nice build. Very enjoyable putting that together. For sure, complicated. And just bear that in mind if you are putting this together. It is a little bit more fiddly than some of the other Tamiya builds I've done, but not an unpleasant experience. You just might feel like you need a third hand at some points to make a thing work. Anyway, what am I going to do with this? I'll show you sort of my materials that I'm working with. I got my Baneblade bits, some sprues, some Ork stuff there. Lots of DACA, ornamentation, armor plate, some black Orks. Really at its heart, this is an armored troop carrier. Some firepower capabilities, but I'm sure we can upgrade those. So what I want this to be is a solid half-track truck. I'll get a big shooter up here. I'll most likely put a big shooter on the nose here as well. There's kind of a little indentation there that would be perfect for an additional gun. I think I want to put a wrecking ball. Maybe I'll fill in this space with another armor plate, pop a little crane on there with a big old wrecking ball hanging off it, and then fill this up with Orks who will most likely have their heads down because that wrecking ball will be swinging around like a crazy thing. I think that could be cool. I think this could be a lot of fun. Get some spiky bull bars at the front here as well. But yeah, let me go get this done. This goes away as a Hanomag 251 Mark I. It'll be back as an Ork truck. See you soon. So once again, we've got to ask, what would the Orks do if they got their hands on 20th century, 21st century armored vehicles and tanks? And today we're looking at this Hanomag half-track, and what would they do to that? Well, let's just see. Okay, it's on its way, but I don't think you're going to be ready for this. So here's a Kilocan, and he's giving it full beans there. Love that little guy. And he's got something attached to him. Well, it's the Crud Creek Nose Pickers Snotling Blood Bowl team tour bus. That's what it is. And right at the back of it there is their little wagon. So let's have a closer look at all the detail on this madness. So here it is from above, and then I'll start to get into the tiny details of it. I couldn't fit an Ork into this to drive it. It was just too snug in under here. And I thought, well, what am I going to do? How is this thing going to go forwards? And I thought, I'm sure the local Ork war boss wouldn't mind lending out a fantastic Kilocan here on game day to make sure that the Snotling team get to the match. And it just started to fit together nicely that not only was this the engine, but it was also their security guard traveling around with them. I think a cheerleader as well, judging by just how energized this little fella is. This was part of a Killican's unboxing review I did, so I'll put a link in the show notes below. If I forget, you can just find it in the Orks playlist anyway. But I'm just going to unchain him here sometime later. I'm just going to pop this little wonder out of the way. I'm also going to detach the buggy from the back of this because it will get in the way too. But this is the standard pump wagon from the Crud Creek Nose Pickers Blood Bowl Snotling team, and it is just amazing. I will be reviewing the Snotling team as part of a Super Bowl Sunday Blood Bowl special that's coming up at the start of February. So there'll be a bit more detail on them there. But for this one, I did a small modification. I think this a squig or something it's riding on top of. You can see sort of the bulging eyes. But I was able to attach this rubber tow rope into this squig's mouth so that he's actually the tow hook for this thing, and all he has to do is hang on. All he has to do. What he has to spend his life doing is hanging on to this rope. And you've got this great little snotling riding on top of him, giving him instruction. And then this kind of grumpy looking one at the back. I don't know what's got him so unhappy, but he's just taking a moment to himself. But anyway, that's how the little pump wagon is attached by this tow hook. And then if I just bring you in nice and close to the inside here. So this scene, what you've got here is a goblin coach who is unfortunately being completely tormented by the Snotling players. We've got people throwing stones at him or something there, about to hit him with a mushroom. Someone's playing a trumpet right in his face. Looks like he's been knocked over by a couple of them. They're small, but they're professional athletes. You know, it's not outside of their wheelhouse to knock a goblin to the ground. Anyway, that's that one. I'm just going to take him out because he's loose, and otherwise he's just going to go rattling around. You can see some of the detail inside there. You got all these little snotlings up on the benches inside this tour bus. At the back here, this one was balancing on the edge on his stilts. They're tough little guys. I'm not saying they're smart. And unfortunately, the wagon juddered. So he's caught in mid-plummet there. As he's about to go crashing into the main compartment. Hopefully you can see the little fella right at the back here through the open doors. He's just happily picking his nose and watching the pump wagon rattle along behind them. Down the sides here, I've got these cool little rungs for them to climb up on, made out of these weird hand sort of things. Some armor plate at the back here. I added a few turn counters, I think these are, from a goblin team. The snotling ones were little mushrooms, and these ones seem to be better looking for the front of a vehicle. And then you get another one of these poor little kind of characters that's been strapped to the front, and that is his lot, unfortunately. This came out of a goblin kit, I think, which was a modified sort of football with a goblin kind of crammed inside it, or a snotling crammed inside it. And I thought it would be really cool when this gets painted to do this in gold, like it's the hood ornament. Got this one hanging off the side here with his frying pan. This little dude here is about to throw a rock and he's hanging onto the edge. And this one's kind of scolding him by the looks of things. Looks like he's disturbed him mid-snack as he's munching down this mushroom. I don't think these are very well-behaved creatures. And then this one up top has a slingshot. And it kind of looks like he's firing through the gap here at the back of this poor creature here that's towing them. I'm not sure how happy he's going to be when he gets assaulted with rocks or mushrooms or whatever this fellow's throwing at them. Jewelry chain wrapped around the front, which forms part of the tow system for the Killican. So the last detail I wanted to share with you really are these little pennants on poles. The poles themselves are just bits of sprue that I shaved down to make look like sort of rough wooden posts. The flags themselves are those weird little plastic and metal squeezy tags to keep bread fresh. They just scale perfectly to this. Don't throw anything away. Honestly, if you can think of some kind of hobby use for it, stow it somewhere, and you never know when it's going to come in useful. These are just perfect for this. Even the bits of sprue that I used, it's just worked out perfectly. And yeah, a really good use of something that is normally would just go into the bin or recycling. But there you have it. I've taken a Hanomag half-track, this sturdy German armored troop carrier, which was fine to build, even if the wheel section was ridiculously intricate and much more like putting together a watch than it was putting together a model armored vehicle. Even with that, it was still an okay build. The conversion now, I'm just such a huge Blood Bowl fan. The thought of having a tour bus as well for each of my teams, oh, that's going to be such a cool task. I left plenty of space on the sides of this thing for getting the team name emblazoned up along it, or maybe some sponsorship like Budweiser or ORKED has, you know, the usual. And yeah, I think that once painted, this will look pretty fantastic. It's a departure from what I've done with these other kits, but for me, it's brought a little bit of comic relief into this series. And yeah, this was great fun to do. On the next episode, it's the 4th and final video in this ORKED series where I've been orking up 20th and 21st century tanks and armored vehicles. And next week, I'm gonna go big as I bring this series home. It's the Italeri HEMTT gun truck. It is a monster looking thing. It is huge by comparison to everything I've done so far. And the conversion I planned for it hopefully will bring a smile to your face just as much as this Blood Bowl turbos, but I'm expecting less slingshots, mushrooms, and trumpets. But I guess you never know. Anyway, that's coming up on the next one. If you're enjoying these videos, please like and subscribe and comment below and share them with anyone you know would be into this sort of thing. Until the next time, take care of yourselves and bye-bye.